आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् अहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्व निराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Finally, in this session, which is the 50th class on Chāndogya Upanishad under this YouTube series, we are entering the story, Akhyayika, of Indra and Virochana approaching Prajapati for the highest knowledge of Brahma or Atma. Adi Shankara once more says, such stories are meant to generate an added amount of earnestness in students. For if we learn that this was a drink that kings used to have, this was a game that great people used to play, this was the river near which eminent people would come and discuss things. Even a coffee club, let's say in New Delhi or in San Francisco, where, let us say, we get to hear that great artists and painters, etc., would come here for a cup of coffee and discuss their creative ideas. People would say, let us also go have some coffee over there. So, when a certain activity, mundane or spiritual, gets associated with eminent people, then it has an added value of attracting people from different walks of life. Let me read for you a couple of lines from how Shankara introduces this 7th khanda in this 8th chapter of Chāndogya Upanishad. 8th chapter is the last chapter, as you know, and this has 15 khandas. We have covered 6 of them, and in this session we are entering the 7th section. And Adi Shankara says, in the last 6 sections, several topics were discussed. It was said that there is certain samprasada, a certain profound and genuine serenity that you and I meet with. Sayesha samprasadaha sharira samuthaya param jyoti rupa sampadya, and so on, he says, referring to that serenity in deep sleep. In sushupti, in deep sleep, we have no hassles of either the gross body or the subtle body. And in order to throw more light on that very serenity, on that very purest peace possible, purest unadulterated bliss that is possible in being the self, in being with the self, that you and I experience in deep sleep, there is this teaching. And now, why is it brought in the form of a story? Shankaracharya writes, Akhyayikatu vidya grahana sampradana vidhi pradarshanartha. There is an excellent way of conveying this teaching. Vidya grahana and sampradana. Students receive, teachers give. Grahana is receiving, sampradana is giving. How a teacher would impart, how a student would receive. All this has to be shown Vidya Stutyartha. In a way, by talking about eminent people, preeminent people like Indra and Virochana, both of whom were kings of their camps, they approach Prajapati and thereby Vidya is praised. And Vidya is highlighted by these eminent people, and in a way, the eminent people also get some mileage through this association with Vidya. So it is in both directions. Adi Shankara gives a simple example. Suppose there is some drink these days, some coffee, some tea, some sharbat, rajasevitam paniyam itivat. If, let's say, we have Tata Tea, Tata Group in India, to my knowledge, is ruling over the largest empire of tea in the world because several tea manufacturers around the world sold their companies to Tatas some time back. Therefore, Tata Tea, coming under various names and brands around the world, is the biggest conglomeration of companies. And suppose Tata Tea announces, advertises, this is the tea King Charles IV drinks every morning. This is the tea that President Biden took when he visited such and such place last week. This is the tea that Prime Minister Modi drinks every morning. Imagine, many of us would say, I would like to start drinking that tea, which Biden or King Charles IV or Modi drinks. Rajasevitam paniyavat. With a touch of humor, Sri Shankaracharya says, the story serves its own purpose. And then he declares, then he enters mantra proper. In our slides in this session, we have taken actually the second and the fourth mantras of this seventh khanda. So if we are going to the second mantra and the fourth mantra, can we know what is said in the first and the third mantra? Some of you will be curious to know. So we would say the first mantra sets the background for Indra and Virochana to approach Prajapati. What is that background? It is said in the first mantra, one fine morning, I guess, Prajapati. Prajapati could be a reference to Supreme God. It could be a reference to Chaturmukha Brahma, some deity of very great, almost the top eminence. Prajapati, one fine morning, apparently gave out a statement. Like today, we have prime ministers and presidents declaring, giving out what is called a press statement. So, something like that. The first mantra ends with the two words, Prajapati Uvacha. Oh, what did Prajapati declare one fine morning? Ya Atma Apahata Papma. We have been talking about certain pure self which is completely free from negativities. No sin comes anywhere near it. Vijaraha, no old age. Vimrutyuhu, no death. Vishokaha, no sorrow. Vijigatsaha, no hunger. Apipasaha, no thirst. Satyakamaha, Satyasankalpaha. When you are anchored in that purest self, whatever you conceive comes true. Whatever you desire comes and falls at your feet. Saha Anveshtavyaha. Prajapati said, that is what all of us should seek, should go after in life, not some petty things. Saha Anveshtavyaha, Saha Vijijnasitavyaha. Why? If you get that, Sarvanscha lokan apnoti. Swarga and worlds above Swarga also will all be yours. Sarvanscha kaman. You will get all your desires fulfilled. If at all there are some desires arising too once in a while. But all this would be possible. Yaha tam atmanam anuvidya vijanat. Listening to the instructions of a competent teacher, if someone were to contemplate, meditate, and realize it, there is no one who is more blessed and more fortunate or more fulfilled than that lady or man. Following this, there comes the second mantra. For the title slide actually mentions a piece from the fourth mantra. Let me tell you what the second mantra says here, which will come in our slide 2 again. After that announcement was made, the declaration was made by Prajapati, very high divine figure in his own domain. Tadhaubhaye devasuraha anububudire. The word went very fast. There was no WhatsApp, there was no FB, Facebook, there was no Instagram, or there was no Twitter, but somehow they had their own mechanisms. They had their own ways in which such a precious and extraordinary message from Prajapati would reach people like Asuras, the demons in their Asura Loka, Devas in Swarga Loka. Devaha Asurascha Devasuraha Anu Bubudhire. Deha Uchuhu. And when they came to know, really, Prajapati issued a statement that if we really want to go to high levels of satisfaction, Atma Jnana is the way. Deha Uchuhu. Hanta. Wow. Hanta is like an excitement. Tam Atmanam Anvichamaha. Let's go hunting for that pure self. Yam Atmanam Anvishya. Upon searching for which and upon getting which, we will have our sway over all the lokas, all the desires. So in their own, Adi Shankara in his commentary says, there's a word he uses, Swa Parishadi. Devas in their Parishat. You know, Parishat means a large number of people coming together. In our country, in India, we call the parliament Sansad. Sansad, Parishad, all have that root, Shad, or Sad becomes Shad. So Parishad, Swa Parishadi, Devas in their meeting, Asuras in their own meeting, without knowing that the other camp also is aiming at the same. Without knowing, the other camp will also send their king to Prajapati. They secretly held meetings, and all this happened, Shankara writes, Swakarna gochara apannam anububudire. Swakarna apannam. Gochara apannam. It came to their notice. They heard. Somewhere they heard. And following that, they go. And the second mantra thus talks about Devanam Indraha Abhipravavraja. Indra, and in the Shankara Bhashya it is said Indra left behind everything, everybody. He said, I go alone. I will go in a simple dress. I will go without any alankara, decorations. I will go with all humility, for this is about a student approaching a teacher. Indraha devanam abhipravavraja virochanaha asuranam abhipravavraja is implied. And the mantra has a touch of humor and an insight into psychology, whether it is us human beings or gods in the heavens or demons in their asura loka. The psychology is qualitatively not different. all of us have certain insecurity. And we are afraid somebody else would know before we know, and somebody else would get before we get whatever we want. So the mantra says, we'll read it again later, Tau, both Indra and Virochana, asamvidanam eva. Asamvidanam eva. In one version. In the slide that will come to you, or that has already come to you, you have downloaded. It is asamvidana wow, asamvidana veva, not meva, but veva. Both seem to be correct. The one which you have in your slides, asamvidanau eva, asamvidana veva. Vantadesha sandhi. What is this? Let's take that version. Asamvidanau. Asamvidanau, yeah. Samvidana means informing the other person. Asamvidana, dual of it is asamvidanau. So Indra did not send word to Virochana, hey, I am going to Prajapati, how about you? No, he didn't let Virochana know, nor did Virochana let Indra know. So both Indra and Virochana thought the other person doesn't know, other person may not be going, or other person will go next month. I am going tomorrow morning. But it so happened, both Indra and Virochana reached the portals of Prajapati's palace at the same time. They looked at each other and maybe made faces at each other, so they didn't like each other. Both of them went in a rather traditional way, holding Samit. Samit Pani was two of them. Hari, Hari, Harayaha. Samit Pani, Samit Pani, Samit Panayaha. Two of them. Prajapati Sakasham Ajagmatuhu. I must quickly tell you the third mantra, because then from the fourth mantra we have a piece coming up in the slides, title slide. The third mantra, which we are not showing on the slide fully, says both of them reached there, and Prajapati on one hand was too busy, on the other, this is Brahma Vidya. It's not given to you on a tray as you go there. Prajapati said to them, both of you stay here for some time. For some time means what? 32 years. As many years as there are teeth in a healthy human being. 32 years. Tauha dvatrim shatam. Trimshat means 30. Dvatrimshat means 32. Tauha dvatrimshatam varshani brahmacharyam ushatu. Please don't imagine that they spent 32 years there doing some what they call in Hindi mauj masti. They had tennis courts, they had swimming pools, they had carom, chess, they had wine and woman and this and that. No, brahmacharyam ushatu. Brahmacharya means Gurukula Vasa, and it stands for a whole lot of things. Lived a disciplined life. The ashram rules. The ashram rules they had to follow. Brahmacharyam ushatuhu. How many years? Dvatrimshatam varshani. 32 years. And at the end of 32 years, Prajapati met them. I'm not sure whether he did not meet them at all before. Maybe he did meet them before. But the time for him to teach them was after full 32 years. And I'm sure they were beneficiaries of it, though it must have been uncomfortable for them in the beginning, because they grew internally. To live a disciplined life, to stick to a schedule, to not miss japa tapa, to not miss upavasa on right occasions, to not miss various sadhanas that you take for yourself, To make a plan and to go by the plan. Very important. Other day I came across a simple but nice saying. It said, success does not come from what you do occasionally. Success comes from what you do every day. If you begin your every day with even 10 minutes of yoga, not more, every day. The statement said success comes from what you do every day, how you do things. Do you do things carelessly, in a haphazard manner, in improper sequence, compromising with quality, saying one thing but doing something else? All these are sometimes found even in well-known people, eminent people, rich people, famous people. They are famous or rich or eminent in the eyes of society because of some talent, because of something, but on the whole, their life may leave much to be desired. Think about it. Brahmacharya, therefore, is not just celibacy, but much more than celibacy. A great amount of alignment between what you think as important and what you do day after day. Prajapati gave them audience, and as though he did not know anything, he says, Kimichantau, Kimichantau avastam. You spent 32 years here, happy to have you here, but tell me once more, what is it for which you came and spent 32 years? Tau chatuhu, they both said, we heard the statement you made that there is something untouched by sin, untouched by old age, untouched by death, untouched by sorrow, untouched by hunger or thirst, and so on and so forth. And you announced 32 years ago. You announced that that is to be pursued. And therefore we came for that knowledge. Anuvidya vijanati iti bhagavato vachaha. Those were the words of you, revered sir. Tamichantav avastam. Therefore we came. We have. In Shankara Bhashya, interestingly, Shankaracharya says, to a great extent that we must add, Shankaracharya says after 32 years of Gurukula Vasa, done in a proper way, both Virochana and Indra became Tyakta Raga Dvesha Moha Irshyadi Doshav. They were free from likes and dislikes. They were free from jealousy, from delusion, and other defects. These days, people go to some resort for 10 days, 15 days, and we ask them, why did you go there? What did you do there? You know, we went for a detoxification. Detoxing. Detoxing. Because there are so many toxins that enter our body, in our blood, and I don't know how many other places. Toxins. What we eat, what we breathe, even what we hear, the television we watch, the internet we browse, everything puts toxins in us. So we need detoxification programs. And you have to meet with your budget in every part of the world. Lots of places, some of them are very expensive. You pay so much, but they allow you to eat only once. You may wonder, but that is detoxification. This brahmacharya, this gurukula vasa is the best form of detoxification. And ushatuhu brahmacharyam prajapato tenedam prakhyapitam atmavidya gauravam. By saying they waited 32 years. In Kali Yuga, people are so impatient. They want it so quickly. They say an American flew to Himalayas, that is, came to maybe Delhi or Dehradun, somewhere he flew, came rushing to some ashram in Rishikesh and said, Guru, I am catching the flight this evening to go back. Give me that Brahma Vidya. There's a story that Swami Chinmayanand used to narrate. The Guru said to that man, okay, most welcome, come with me. And during some 8 hours or so, the American was walking by the side of the Guru. And the Guru took a late breakfast with his visitor. Later on, the Guru went around, looked at the Goshala where cows were there, went to a little nursing home where some patients were being treated. Then there was a short satsang for his brahmacharis. He gave a short talk. There was a group meditation. Then at lunch, afterwards the Guru said, do you also take some rest and take half an hour break? The American was very impatient. When is he telling me Brahma Vidya, the highest wisdom? By 6 o'clock, the American had to leave again. Then the Guru said, I have been teaching, I have been instructing you from the time you arrived. If you noticed me carefully, when I was taking breakfast, I was taking breakfast. When I was at the Goshala, I was at the Goshala. When I was at the little place of sick people, I was with the sick people. So American said, oh, so what is special? I was watching you, I was aware of where your mind was going. You were never at the place where you physically were. You were thinking of your hometown in Pennsylvania. At another place, you were thinking of the school you went to in California. At another place, you were thinking about the place in New Jersey from where your wife came. You were thinking of her in-laws, your differences of opinion with them. You were never at the breakfast or the Goshala or the nursing home or the satsang with Brahmachari. Your mind was going and then, of course, coming back for 2 minutes, again going in another direction. My dear friend, Brahma Vidya is a certain wisdom where you are where your body is. You live in the present. He patted the American and said, wish you a safe return flight. So, Brahmacharya is that kind of self-training. And Shankara says, Atma Vidya Gauravam. The fact that Indra and Virochana spent full 32 years is an indication of how much both of them respected, revered, valued Atma Vidya, which is Brahma Vidya. Now let's take up the title slide for this class, where essential teaching of Prajapati is given. Let's take a look at these words. This is, as we always do, culled from the entire mantra, 8th chapter, 7th section, 4th mantra. The Acharya here, the competent teacher here, is no other than Prajapati. And he says to Indra and Virochana, Ya esha akshini purusho drishyate, esha atma. Like the Guru in the story narrated by Swami Chinmayanand, here also the words are very simple. The Guru in Rishikesh said, I was conveying to you what Brahman is all about when we were having breakfast, when we were at the nursing home, when we were at the Goshala, everywhere. So here too the Guru says, if you look into a mirror, if you look into water, that comes later, right? With these eyes, you will be able to see Brahman. The Brahman is what you will see. However, Adi Shankara in his commentary makes matter very clear. Let me read for you what is meant by this Akshini Purushaha Drishyate. Akshini Purushaha Drishyate, and Akshi means eyes. Eyes. Chakshu. And most of you have studied Kathopanishad. Paranchikhani Vetranat Swayambhu Tasmat Parang Pashyati Nantaratman Kaschidiraha Pratyagatmanamaikshat Avritta Chakshu. The moment Akshi is mentioned, eyes are mentioned, the reference is to those, those among us, though superficially are looking at something, in reality are not getting carried away by the names and forms. A flower has blossomed, beautiful clouds are floating, a pretty woman or a handsome man, a beautiful car, something that normally would attract us, or something that normally would disturb us. You hold all of them in your view, but rather than being disturbed by them, as the Kathopanishad mantra said, Avritta Chakshu. Shankara in his Bhashya says, Yesha Kshani Purusha Nivritta Chakshu. And to make the matter clear, Mrudita Kashayayi. Those of us who have consciously brought down our Kashaya. Kashaya means negative emotions. Some botheration about what happened 5 years ago. Some sorrow about some opportunities that we missed 10 years ago. Something about somebody's insult. Sad memories, they're all kashaya. Mrudita kashayaihi drishyate yogibihi drashta esha. Though you may see into the mirror and you may see the reflection, don't be carried away by that image. Who is seeing that image? Who am I? And turn inward. Therefore, no wonder in Ramana Gita, when they asked Maharshi Ramana, what is the one way by which you may know Brahman? He says, Vishayebhyaha paravritya vritti sarva prayatnataha vimarshe kevalam tishte achale nirupadike. Train yourself not to be carried away, not to be hijacked, but what you hear, by what you see, by what you smell. Somebody brings some bad news. Don't get agitated in a hurry. Hold on. Think about it. Hold it lightly in your consciousness. Somebody brings some good news. Hold that also lightly in your consciousness. Then you are Vishayebhyaha Vrittihi Paravritya, and along with it, all the Vedanta you have studied should be brought in at that time. All right, this bad news says 10 lakhs of rupees somebody took from me and that person has died and I cannot get it back. His children won't even accept that I had ever given to their father 10 lakhs. Some sense bad news. In the light of the Vedanta, ask yourself, who is the loser? The pure consciousness that I am, can it ever lose? Can it ever gain? And in a few years, this body may drop. And entire life is so transitory. It makes no sense to cry over some loss here or to rejoice over some gain or some felicitation there, etc. Vedanta, Jnana Yoga, not just through willpower, but through certain intelligent contemplation on what you have deeply appreciated in spiritual get-togethers or spiritual classes, then person will be able to prevent being hijacked. Rather, one stays as the awareness, not going to sleep, not going to some kind of insensitive state of mind, very much aware, taking full cognizance of whatever has happened, but stays unmoved. Now, the mantra or the part of the mantra just says, Prajapati said to Indra and Virochana, right through these eyes you can behold Atma, Kesha Atma. What is meant is, if you can train your eyes to go inward, not physically turn them around, but it's a matter of training our mind and intellect not to follow what the eyes see and get lost somewhere in the context of Vishayas, but be wise. Now we go to the second slide where the mantra I had read a while ago, so you can quickly see the highlight of it in the second slide, which is actually the second mantra of this particular section. We have Tadha Ubhaye, both Deva and Asuras, Anubudire. They came to know, Prajapati made an amazing statement. All this we read, and then this mantra says, the English translation is worth reading, how the whole gathering wanted to pursue self-knowledge. And among the gods, you have the fifth line in the English translation, Indra himself went out. From Asuras, Virochana, from demons, did so. Without each other's knowledge, those who came to Prajapati with faggots in hand. That samit is a wooden sticks from certain well-defined trees which can be used as fuel in the Agni Karya that is done every day. But the main teaching now comes in the last slide for the presentation, where that Akshini Purushaha is mentioned. Let's go to the third and last slide, and this makes it clear. It's not a yogic practice, but it's the practice of higher wisdom. Tauha Prajapati Uvacha. To those two, Indra and Virochana, Prajapati said, Ya esha akshini purusho drishyate. If you train your senses and the mind, wherever you see, whatever you see, as one of the Prakarana Grantha puts it, Yatra yatra mano yati tatra tatra samade. Whether the mind goes to a cricket match or to some local politics, whether the mind goes to Bollywood or Hollywood, and whether the mind goes to a temple or to a cremation ground, let it go as necessitated by some situation. To read something, the mind goes somewhere. But where are you? Did you also go with the mind? Or even as the mind touches upon this or that, are you with Brahma? Thus it is said that you must know Brahma by turning inward. So the teaching in this particular last mantra of this seventh section is how Indra and Virochana were given a tip. And though it was said before that they are now so pure, they are through 32 years of brahmacharya in the Guru's ashram, they had become free of likes and dislikes. Now we realize not quite. There is a saying, there is a way of putting, almost there but not quite. Almost there but not quite. A little remains. Even Indra got food. Both of them went and looked into a body of water because they were asked to use the eyes to look at themselves, and they saw their own image. And the next section actually the next section we'll see in the next class, It says that this Indra and Virochana were asked to take bath and wear some beautiful clothes and nice ornaments, etc. Then go and do the same. Do the same means what? Look into water, see your reflection, look into a mirror. So it is said here, Apsu parikhyayate, adarshe parikhyayate, katama esha ityesha u eva, eshu sarveshu anteshu parikhyayate. How was it? They come back to Prajapati and say, we saw with these eyes, we looked into a mirror, we looked into water, we saw our own beautiful form. And Prajapati wanted to test them all. Yes, that is good enough to know Brahma. What you saw is Brahma. Even Indra could not understand this cryptic statement. So both of them thought, all right, that means this body, because in the image they saw their own body. This body is Brahman. Good to know, happy to know. So both of them set off to return. So next part will show how Virochana did not look back at all. He just went to Asura Loka, wherever all his companions were, and said to them, maybe he took one more bath and Gandha, all fragrant perfume, etc. He put all over the body, wore some very nice ornaments, and said, this is Brahma. Prajapati told, all of you now start worshipping. Totally gone crazy. Now you may say, this is so funny. Can this happen at all? Symbolically, that's what happens to anybody who reads Vedanta, who is otherwise immature. Having read so much of Vedanta and having been into Vedanta for years and years, in this Kali Yuga, you find people not moving 1 inch away from the body identity. They just, Kali Yuga, it is said, everybody is a lip Vedanti, talk Vedanta, and if even one member in the audience says, it was a boring lecture today, they become so angry, they get agitated. Who is this fellow and how dare he say that I did not speak well? Impurities. So that shows that in a rather symbolic way it shows we are very much like Indra and Virochana, who saw just a mere optic image of theirs in water or mirror, and they remained very egoistic as ever before. So this section ends with Prajapati, maybe with a mischievous smile, saying, yeah, you saw Brahma. And in the next section we find Indra comes back. Having gone a little distance, he realizes, no, what is this going on? This body cannot be Brahma. Comes back. And 32 more years he lives in a certain orderly way. Even as the mind runs in here and there. Don't think it is a smooth ride through those 32 years. Don't be surprised if you get to know that Indra in the second set of 32 years, at the end of which he would have completed 64 years, as many as there are squares in the chessboard. 64 years, and then another 32, 96 years, and lastly another 5 years. 101 years Indra spends sharpening his observation, enhancing his self-awareness, chasing away false values and false thoughts, useless thoughts, chasing away desire, anger, etc. 101 years. Then he understands. He realizes Brahma. So this story, if you scratch the surface, is what happens in all of us. We need to again check. Did we learn Vedanta for some other purposes? to become a good writer or speaker or to become a matadipati of some big ashram, to travel to various countries or to get attention from family or society or somewhere to be praised by somebody. She is so spiritual in our family. Nobody else went that high as she has done, and we feel so good. You know. So, did we study Vedanta to begging for such praise, such a good labels, such compliments, some kind of good image in the society? Without knowing what is happening, sometimes we fall a prey to some of those habitual longings. We long for attention. We long for a better image in the society. We go to a program. Maybe we are not the speaker or singer or writer or anything, but we went with somebody. And already our mind is expecting the host to come running to us. Please come. Wow, we are so blessed that you have come. So that's way or in any other way. This mind that begs for attention, that seeks, that's hungry for adoration, admiration, then we are no different from Virochana. Whereas, as the Upanishads themselves say, if we become like a flame without smoke, Jyotireva Adhumakaha, Kathopanishad says, we notice what is happening, who respected us, who insulted us, who ignored us, who seemed to mock at us. Then get together, we can read between the lines. Notice them all. We read between the lines. Keep quiet. We have nothing against them or those who made some taunting remark about it. Nor are we obliged to those who praised us, free of obligation, free of anger. Take cognizance of things, we return, and by the time it is time to go to bed, we are not thinking anymore of either those who treated us well at the evening get together or those who did not want to see us at all, etc. Then we are closer and closer to Indra. After 32, after 64, after 96, and after 101 years of Gurukula Vasa. So the story indeed conveys a powerful message. Namak Paramarashibdo, Namak Paramarashibdyaha.